Hello, folks. How you doing? Thought I'd talk about the detrimental effects that uncontrolled passions have on our perceptual capacity, our ability to see things accurately. And so some will say, yeah, well, I have 20/20 vision. Well, yeah, but I'm talking about mental vision, okay? Some say, well, yeah, that's has to do with the pineal gland, which is said to be a third eye. Some folks call it the single eye. When activated, it gives us a greater perception of things. We can understand things better, so to say. Uh, so I'll go back to a saying out of the mythology where the ancestors say, "He comes in peace. Welcome, welcome." So this is telling us that a person who has created a balance within himself and more or less subduing the control that passions have over him, which can be viewed as a reconciliation of opposing passions or opposing forces within, which gives balance to the human. And this balance acquired through reconciliation of the passions happens quickly. And also, when the passions are, let's say, at a state of equilibrium, we see it improves our perception, and this happens quickly too. At least while we are in that state of mind where we have balanced our passions. And this permits a person to see things that he or she don't ordinarily see. You see? So when the ancestors say, "Welcome, welcome, he comes in peace," indicating to us that if you are a person who believes in the ancestry phenomena, like seeing your ancestors or something like that, that the state of mind that you must be in is a state of, let's say, total balance. A person enters this state of total balance sometimes just accidentally, don't have to be intentional. Let's say when he's waking from sleep, when a person's waking up, but he doesn't wake up completely. He stops in the process of path of awakening. At this point, he is neither awake nor asleep. He is in like a stupor, a trance state maybe. And there are no passions. The passions are, at this point, we'll say reconciled, quiet, no thinking, no emotion, no fear, no happiness, no hatred, no animosity, nothing's going on in the person at this point. So the person then we say is at complete balance. He's in a state of complete balance. And in this condition, is when the ancestor can appear. And there's too a sort of a form of communication that can go on. That is, the person, okay, doesn't do anything. It is the ancestor that may touch the person, okay? Sort of like a calling card, like I was here. But the person sees the ancestor in these conditions. Under this condition, there's nothing to interfere with the person seeing the ancestor. You see, because there's no passion, no thinking, it's a state of no things relative to the human mind. The person not thinking, no thoughts at all go through his head. No ideas, no thoughts, no nothing. He just lays there. And this can happen, I think, best maybe at a certain time in the morning, maybe around 3 o'clock. These occurrences will probably more often occur, if, at that time. So this is the result of balanced, completely balanced passions. And at this point, the person is completely balanced. The passions create disequilibrium in people. The passions do a job on us, uncontrolled passions. So here we can see now why the ancestors say, well, welcome. He comes in peace, you see. Because his passions have been all reconciled. So people have done many different things in order to acquire this state of mentality, this state of mind. For example, now they take herbs or took herbs and still do for the purpose of inducing such a state, you see, because it gives a person far clear perception of himself and presumably of his world. So the plant lotus, for example, the lotus plant is a well-known plant, and it was used by people, probably still is used for people, for this very purpose of finding a type of balance within, increasing perception, altering the state of consciousness, you see. So we see in the mythology a picture of a lotus. Maybe you can see this. There's a little picture here. Where the lotus plant comes up from the ground and it takes a curve like so. Okay? Well, that's not the way the plant ordinarily grows. It usually grows straight up. But when we see this alteration in the stem of the plant, it is telling us something. It is telling us about the alteration of consciousness that can be had from the properties of this plant. Okay? So the curve in the lotus as it grows up in this particular situation indicates alteration. And alteration of consciousness. Presumably, the person enters a well-balanced state. you see, and is able to enhance his perception. Now, there's also scenes in the mythology, the pictures, where we see the plant grows straight up and its petals unfold, and we see a person, like a person has risen up out of the plant itself. Well, this too indicates that the person has been affected by the properties of the plant. You see, and so this is what it indicates. It tells us that yes, the person has come out of the lotus. That is, his altered state of consciousness as a result of the properties of the lotus, consuming them, has altered consciousness, and he has become, let's say, like the lotus. You see, not really the plant, but anyway, he has been affected by the properties of the plant. Okay. So we hear the speaker in some of the mythology sayings where the speaker says, I am the lotus, or I am this, or I am that. Meaning that he has taken something, or maybe he just practiced certain religious exercises that has altered his consciousness. You see. And he says that he is this or that, or whatever medication, etc., that he might have taken in order to alter his consciousness. He's identifying with it. Okay. So we talk about this altered state of consciousness, etc., that we could get from various herbs, etc., and it will give us a clear perception of ourselves. Telling us that what we should do is, for example, sell ourselves to ourselves instead of selling ourselves to our personality. You see, or other extraneous events that take place in the world, events that we may, let's say, be overcome with, like beautiful things or whatever, you know. We sell ourselves to these things. We sell our things to our personality characteristics, our personality values, which have come to us from outside events. So our personality is based on outside events. So we're being told not to sell ourselves to outside events, but to sell ourselves to the true self, the internal event. You see, start here, okay? And so this goes a long way. Selling yourself to external events. People complain of oppression, for example. Well, they, sell themselves to external events, which give the oppressor power over them. If they sold themselves to the inner self, you see, the power that the oppressor has over them, especially mental power, would go away. The oppressor would not have mental power over a person who sells himself to his internal self. You see. Not only that, the person can overcome oppression because the oppressor also sells himself to external events. But once you have sold yourself to the eternal event, he's not going to have that pressure over your mind. But you, realizing his condition, his weakness, can gain power over the oppressor mentally. Now, you're not going to defeat the oppressor with weapons and military arms and stuff like that. He has the power. He has police forces all over the place. Oh, okay. So he got you there. But here, you can gain some insight and some control because you have come here and have acquired a state of pure equilibrium. Whenever you want, you can acquire the state at will at any time. Well, the oppressor can't. This gives you great insight, not only into yourself, but then when you go out of yourself, it also gives you great perceptual capacity relative to whatever it is in the external world. Liberate yourself here, and you will be able to liberate yourself from events in the external world that are, let's say, detrimental to you, harmful to you, or oppressive to you. Okay. Self-knowledge. The sage said, know thine self. This is what he was talking about. Okay, folks. Nice talking to you. Subscribe. I will get back to you soon with some things that I hope are very, very interesting. And I look forward to you tuning in and subscribing. Thank you very much, and bye.